Should they be in on Lamar Jackson?
Um, if their contracts weren't the way that they were, yes. The problem is this is a year that the 49ers don't have a ton of flexibility in terms of getting cap space off the books for good. There's a couple contracts that they can restructure to
Mm-hmm.
create cap space, and I'm sure they will. Christian McCaffrey, Javarius Ward is one of them, and Fred Warner is another. But in terms of actually like trading somebody and fully clearing the books so that they could fit in Lamar Jackson's contract, they don't have much flexibility. They can't trade Kittle and create cap space. They can't trade Debo. They can't trade Warner. They can't trade Armstead. None of these they can do because they've already been restructuring them. So I just don't see a way that they can make it fit. Lamar Jackson would have to do basically what he's unwilling to do with the Ravens, which is a team friendly deal that is very backloaded. Now he wants a lot of guarantees, and that creates a whole nother issue. Like if you don't make the first year a big cap hit, that means the next years are going to be 50, $60 million cap hits because you didn't have it in year one. There's no way that they can do that without having to like literally clear house. Like, okay, Trent Williams, go retire. Thanks. Hey, Kittle, you're gone. Debo, you're gone. They would have to pretty much get rid of all other big contracts in order to make it work. And I still don't see how they do it in year one because Lamar Jackson, I don't think is going to be willing to do a cap hit of say like 20 million in year one.
So yeah, the dynamic in this that I think is making it different from other quarterback situations we've seen is that Lamar doesn't have an agent. If Lamar had an agent, I feel like the Niners would be able to finesse it a little bit to where they would structure the deal to make it work financially. It would be painful, but I feel like with an agent, they'd be able to make it work and figure it out. Without an agent, I don't know. I don't know who else is helping Lamar, but I feel like that I don't know. I just feel like he might not be as willing to engage in like these crazy convoluted contract talks because the more kind of complicated it gets, the more you feel like you might be vulnerable to getting taken advantage of by the team. At least that's how I would feel. I don't know if
Well,
that's crazy.
I don't get into the you have to have an agent. Depends on the person. I don't know Lamar and whether or not he's uh, good enough with numbers to do it himself. I would say Richard Sherman certainly was. There are certainly
But
others
his
out there
deal
that are
was
capable.
bad. Sherman's deal, don't forget, the NFLPA had to come in and fix Richard Sherman's deal. So
But
it's
okay,
complicated.
there's two things here. One, I do want to. I looked just to double check myself. The Niners do have a 2024 first. They just don't have the 2023.
Right.
Um, you said otherwise when you were talking earlier. I just wanted to correct that so that people don't hammer you as much as I'm doing right now.
Sorry if I was unclear. You need to have a first round pick in both
In both
years.
years, yeah.
Sorry.
But then the part of it is Lamar doesn't have to. I think that's the key part of this.
Yep.
Why does Lamar need to do this? He should have so many suitors coming. If Deshaun freaking Watson can get the deal that he got, then what is the holdup on Lamar Jackson? And I do think that your former boss has a good point. I do think that there's some collusion going on here with so many teams. Like, there's no reason to put out, yeah, we're not going to be interested. Teams don't do that. Why are they doing that? That is doing a favor to the Ravens. Something's fishy there. It doesn't make sense. But if Deshaun Jackson, or not Deshaun Jackson,
Different guy.
Deshaun Watson can get the deal that he got, there's no reason why Lamar should be like, okay, I'll take a really small cap hit in year one, and then you backload it, and we have to do all these kind of cap shenanigans and get a really complicated deal. He doesn't need to.
It's very, very weird. And you're right. Because if you're Lamar, like, all right, tag me. I'll play out this year on the tag. I play out next year on the tag. And then I hit the open market because you're not going to tag me for 3 straight years. It'd be way too expensive. And if he's willing to assume the injury risk, like Kirk Cousins did when he left Washington, then there's nothing really anybody can do. I mean, he's willing to accept the risk. That's up to him. That's a decision everybody's got to make on their own. But I do think the Niners should be in on this, frankly, because like if Trey Lance develops the way we all hope, he might not even be as good as Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is a 26-year-old former unanimous MVP. And don't tell me he can't throw because he once led the league in touchdown passes. Like, no. The odds that Trey Lance develops into anything close to Lamar Jackson are super slim. And that goes for anybody because Lamar is crazy talented. So if you're the 49ers.
This was actually my favorite thing that was thrown out there in all this Lamar Jackson stuff. In terms of career numbers, Lamar Jackson's completion percentage is better than Josh Allen. His touchdown percentage is better than Josh Allen, and his interception percentage is better than Josh Allen. This is essentially Josh Allen hitting the open market, is what it should be treated as, and it's not being treated that way, and that stinks.
It's crazy to me. I mean, Frank Reich literally at the combine said, and these are his exact words, he said it would be, quote, franchise malpractice to not turn over every stone to look for a quarterback. And yet we've already got a report that the Panthers are not interested in Lamar Jackson. So they're just committing franchise malpractice? Like the Falcons, same thing. Oh, we got to turn over every rock. We'll investigate everything. Oh, nope. There's a report the Falcons aren't interested. Like, that's so sketchy. Like, and the owners, they don't have to be coy about this. They don't have to pretend like it's not collusion because unless there's a paper trail, you can never prove it. And so I think it's pretty clear.
And who does the commissioner work for?
That would be the owners.
Oh, so it's almost like the people that have to police collusion would have to be ratting out themselves. Like, it's not going to happen. And in this scenario, it's not like a different, there's certain collusion scenarios where one team gets screwed because of it. And so that owner is going, screw you, I'm going public with all this. There's no scenario here where one owner is feeling, aggrieved. If you're a team that's going to be interested in Lamar Jackson, you're happy these other teams are bowing out because it gives you negotiating power with Lamar Jackson.
True.
And if you're the Ravens, you're happy they're coming out and saying, hey, we're not interested because, again, Lamar loses negotiating power. Thus, it's more likely he returns. Like, it's just, we all know what it is.
And I think that's part of the reason the Ravens put the transition tag on him because they knew he wasn't going to get that offer because they know about the collusion. I mean, the Ravens owner Bisciotti said, oh, I really wish Deshaun Watson didn't get a fully guaranteed deal. That makes it really hard to do business in the future. That's unprecedented. Like they're putting it out there. They don't want to establish the precedent of fully guaranteed contracts for quarterback. Kirk Cousins got a fully guaranteed contract, but it was only 3 years. And if you look at most of the big quarterback contracts that come out, essentially the first 3 years are fully guaranteed anyway, because you're not cutting that guy that you're signing in the first 3 years. Then Deshaun Watson got it. And what was the backlash from owners? Everybody got mad at the Haslams, the Browns owners. They all got mad. So,
I mean, this is what I would say. There has been a conversation amongst a lot of the owners at the owner meetings where they said, we're not going to allow this to become the thing. So whoever is the next great quarterback to hit the open market, nobody's going to give them fully guaranteed. We're going to make that agreement now, and that's collusion. And I think that's what happened. I don't think that owners met or talked amongst themselves and said, no, we're not giving Lamar fully guaranteed contract. I think they said, whoever's next is not getting that, so that doesn't become the new thing where every year some great quarterback goes, screw you, I'm not signing unless I get fully guaranteed.
Right. You think the Chargers want to have to give Justin Herbert a fully guaranteed deal, or Cincinnati have to give Joe Burrow a fully guaranteed? No, It's in their interest to collude. Collusion is always in the interest of those that are colluding. And let's not pretend like the owners haven't colluded before. They did it with Colin Kaepernick, and they did it in the quote unquote uncapped year a few years ago before the CBA got worked out. And when Dallas and Washington said, screw that, we're spending money, the league took draft picks away from them. They punished them for it. So we have seen this kind of collusion before in the NFL. It is not a shock. And I think it's pretty obvious the owners, the only way they would do fully guaranteed contracts is if somehow it was negotiated in the CBA and they got a huge concession from the players in exchange for that. That's really what I think they ideally would want.
Yeah, they're never going to do fully guaranteed deals. But the quarterback position is a unique one that kind of does have the power to try to demand that.
Right.
I don't know what Lamar is going to end up getting, but the fact that Daniel Jones just got 40 million, Lamar should be getting 50 million.
It's pretty clear. Did you see
Deshaun Watson got tons of money fully guaranteed? That's the whole problem here. You're letting a POS get fully guaranteed while he's going to trial for a whole bunch of lawsuits. And now another one comes available and you go, hold on, you're not getting what that guy got, even though that guy has all kinds of red flags.
Well, he didn't go to trial. They were in the process of settling, but it was up in the air. That's the
He had
point.
been sued. Let me rephrase. He had been
Right.
sued by, I think he had 21 at the
Accusations.
time of the trade.
It's like 24 or 30 now, some ridiculous number. Bill Barnwell of ESPN did an article about all the teams that should trade for Lamar Jackson and what he thinks it would take. He put the Niners at number 15 on the list. I'm trying to see the package that he said it would be. Lance is obviously involved in the deal. I
Has
think
to
it
be,
was
yeah.
like Lance, Ayuk, and a 2024 first round pick to the Ravens for Lamar and a 2024 fourth round selection. If that was a deal, yes, like faster than they, I would do that deal so fast. Trey Lance, Ayuk, and a 20. Yes, go ahead. We'll take Lamar. I would do that in a second. Would you?
Yeah, this is the way I would sum up Lamar Jackson. You got to make a call. You call Lamar Jackson, say, "Hey, we're interested. Here's our cap situation. This is what we would need you to be able to do." And when he says, "No, that's worse than what the Ravens are offering," you go, "Okay, well, we tried." Because that's the scenario. It's I would trade darn near anything to get a quarterback of Lamar Jackson's caliber. You know, we were talking last week on the show about how like a single quarterback who is an MVP level means you can pretty much have a crap rest of the roster, and as long as your coaching is good, you'll be a Super Bowl contender. You know,
Mm-hmm.
who did Patrick Mahomes just win a Super Bowl with? Him and Kelsey. That was it. The offensive line was bad and the wide receivers were terrible, and yet they were dominating the league offensively. So I think you pay whatever you need to pay to get a Lamar Jackson. The problem is in order to get him, they have to have Lamar Jackson agree to a deal that is likely worse than what the Baltimore Ravens have offered. And why would he do that? And thus, you make the call. He says, "Yeah, not doing that," and you're done. Like the Niners need to make the call. I just don't think it's going to go past a 10-minute phone call one time and you're done.
And it may, but I bet you they're making the call. I mean, this is a team that literally called about trading for Tom Brady. You don't think they're going to call for Lamar? I think they are.
Oh, I'm sure
Absolutely.
they've talked to Tom Brady already.
Oh, I'm sure that too. But also, like, let's say they did pull off a trade, that gets them off the hook for the gets them out of this whole Lance Purdy. Like, there's no you trade for Lamar, he's your starter. I don't give a crap what Brock Purdy did in 6 games last year. Like, no, Lamar would be your guy. He's kind of like a get out of jail free card, much like Brady would be if they could bring him in. So I do think that they would do it. I think they would investigate it. I bet they have. And like you said, it might not go very far, but I absolutely think they should. I would be in support of it because if the 49ers haven't learned the lesson that you just explained by now, where you have to have that elite quarterback, like shame on them.
Now, would you do this deal? Because I think this could be something that the Ravens would push back with if somehow they had Lamar. It would be Lance, the 2024 first, and Nick Bosa.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would do it. It would hurt, but
it
I
would
would
hurt.
absolutely do it.
I think the Ravens would ask for Bosa, and the Niners in that scenario should say, "Hey, look, we got Lamar willing to come to us. He has the power to say, I'm not playing unless you trade me to this one team. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to stand pat and not give you Nick Bosa." But in the scenario where that was the only way, yeah, like pretty much any deal you offer me that involves me getting an MVP caliber quarterback who's not like 44 years old, I'm going to be willing to do.
Yeah, and again, it would hurt, but you know what? That money you got to pay Bosa, that's going to go to Lamar, and it would suck, but I would do it because I just think it's clear, especially with Mahomes in the league now. Like you're going to have to play Mahomes probably if you want to win a Super Bowl. You've already lost to him once. I would do it. Absolutely, I would.
The NFC is in a weird spot where the path to get to the Super Bowl is as easy as it's ever been.
Yes.
But the path to
Who?
win a Super Bowl is arguably as hard as it's ever been for the NFC. I mean, we're the same age. If you're in your mid 30s, you grew up in a period where when you were a kid and coming of age and watching the NFL, The NFL won something like 16 straight, or NFC won like 16 straight Super Bowls. The AFC could never win one because you had the Cowboys and the Niners dominating. So I think that in this scenario, it's starting to swing the other way. Not starting, it has swung the other way.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I would have to sit down and actually count, but I would say at a minimum, the top 5 quarterbacks are now in the AFC because
Es-
Brady's gone and like Carr doesn't do anything.
right.
That's the one that's
Especially
come
if
across.
Rodgers is going to the Jets. That's one.
Yeah,
Who are the
that's the other one.
quarterbacks in the NFC that scare you? Jalen
Yeah,
Hurts, who was awesome in the Super Bowl, and
that's it.
that's it. Dak, no, I've seen the 49ers kick the tar out of the Cowboys multiple times. I'm sorry, Dak, he's not a bad player, but is he your obstacle to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC? Absolutely not. Kirk Cousins, no. Justin Fields, no. Matt Stafford, no. Geno Smith, they beat Geno Smith 3 times last year. Great, Seattle. Awesome. I love that you kept him around. Daniel Jones, who just got a new deal from the Giants, no. There's nobody. So if there was ever a year where you should be aggressive, it's this year, either living through the growing pains with Trey Lance or with a Lamar or a Brady or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I am at the point where I say if Lamar is willing, pay whatever it takes.
Yep.
The problem is I don't. The only way you can do it is if Lamar agrees to the contract that's worse than what the Ravens have to have offered at this point, and that makes no sense. So
In theory, we don't know what the Ravens offered, but you would think that they put a pretty good offer on the table. But yeah, so I'll be interested to see if we hear anything about what the 49ers tried or didn't try. But I'll be definitely keeping an eye on that.